news, you're always seeing things that, hey, use this to help you get back into a rhythm this year. Use this application, or go online and go on YouTube. There's all kinds of videos on how to start the New Year's right. And so what I have just learned in my personal life is that rhythm really starts and ends with you. Your rhythm, your life, if you're not in rhythm with God, if you're not in rhythm, you're going to struggle in your relationships, you're going to struggle at work, and so on. So we're going to look at what that means for us today. So one of the things that I always look at when it comes to rhythm is one of those things where my walk with God needs to be very specific. Like I wake up in the morning, and this is kind of where, there's a little insight on my life. I get up, get my son ready for school, and I spend some time with God. And then I go to the gym, and I work out, and my favorite place to pray is the treadmill. I'm going to explain. I pray in the treadmill because I want it to end. But all jokes aside, I towards the end of my run, my last 15 minutes is all worship music, because I'm I gotta get through this. God, help me, please. But when my rhythm gets on track, I lose weight, I feel good, I'm great. But then there's those mornings I wake up and my son procrastinates because it's Liam procrastination Ivy. And I feel like I'm off there, or I don't get to the gym when I want to get to the gym, or when I get to the gym, that one guy that sits on the one machine and doesn't get off, come on, man, gotta go. And then this next couple weeks at Mudley Spadina Rec Center, it's going to be a lot of people who are there for 2 or 3 weeks, and it's going to be packed, and it'll drive you nuts. Well, maybe for you, it's your spouse comes home and says, hey, I volunteered you for something. Great, thanks. I can't wait to help that person move. Or maybe for you, it's something else. But regardless of where you're at, our goal is to have rhythm of God in ourselves. And we're going to look at this story today that I feel is one of the greatest encounters in Jesus' ministry. And to me, I love what happens. I love the interaction between Jesus and this woman, because I think it really sets the tone for us and figure out how we can have rhythm in our personal lives, in our spiritual lives, in our relationships. And so before we get to Scripture, it's in John chapter 4. If you happen to have a Bible, if you want to open up, you're welcome to. Kind of give you some background. In Jesus' time, there was this group called the Samaritans. Now, the Samaritans and the Jews were very much oil and water. They did not mix. It's like living with a Michigan fan in your house. It's that bad. The marriage is constantly struggling. But the thing when it comes to this relationship with Samaria and the Jews is just they did not like each other. The Jews felt the Samaritans were pretty much pagans and did not like the way they worshiped, and what they stood for, and treated them horribly. The Samaritans did not like being treated horribly by the religious elite, did not care for the Jews. And so there's this huge interaction and friction between these two groups of people. And this is where we find our story and where Jesus has this amazing interaction. So John chapter 4, verse 3. So Jesus left Judea and went back once more to Galilee. Now he had to go through Samaria. Verse 6. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired from the journey, sat down by the well. It was about noon, and when a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, will you give me a drink? His disciples had gone to town to buy some food. The Samaritan woman said to him, you are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink? For Jews did not associate with the Samaritans. Kind of give you a little more background here. In Jesus' time, the women would go to the well in the mornings. The reason why they would is because they got to carry these big, heavy, clay pots to the well, and it gets hot. So they want to walk when it's cool, and then the water is cooler in the morning. And so that was the tradition of the time. On top of that, it wasn't necessarily the safest place in the region, so you always went with a group of people. And so these women would get together, they would in the morning go to the well, draw their water, and go back home together. Here's this woman by herself at noon. So she did not want to be seen. She didn't want to be interacted with. She wanted to be by herself in the heat of the day. So it tells us a lot about where this woman's at and what she is going through as Jesus has this interaction with her. We continue on. Verse 10. Jesus answers her, "If you knew the gift of God and who that is asking you for a drink, you would have asked him and he would give you living water." "Sir," the woman said, "you have nothing to draw with and the well is deep. Where can I get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us this well and drank from it himself, as did his sons and his livestock?" So we'll stop right here for a second. I want you to put yourself in the shoes of this woman. Already late in the day, okay? It's noon. Her day has started off later than everyone else's. She's busy. She has things she wants to accomplish. And she's at this well, and this stranger, who shouldn't even be talking to her, is now speaking in rhythm and rhymes. Frustrating, right? If you were her, you're like, come on, I gotta go. I got things to do. Like I said, it's kind of like us today. You know, when your spouse, like I said, Valen tells you to do something on a Saturday you don't want to do, or you get that call from that friend, and you know exactly that friend who they call. It's going to be a 30-minute conversation, and it's going to be about what they're going through, and it's going to be very frustrating to talk to them, and you don't have time to spend that 30 minutes with that friend. Or maybe you're just driving through the neighborhood and you see someone with one of those signs saying, "Hey, I need food, I need money." And you're like, "I'm strapped for cash as well." And so all these opportunities kind of come this way, and they're never at the most convenient times. And yet God still puts them in front of us. So often, when these opportunities come, we have to be very mindful of them, because we know they're going to pass us by. Yes, we much rather do that thing on a Saturday than move somebody. And I'm sure you have to get out the door to make sure your son or daughter, or you get to work on time. But God's put that opportunity there for you for a reason. I mean, imagine if this story ended here. Imagine if, the Samaritan woman was like, "Hey, I'm busy, I gotta go." She'd miss out on a life-changing moment. Now, is that conversation with that friend going to be life-changing? It could. It could definitely help her out. But I guarantee you one thing, that God will always put these opportunities in front of you. We have to take advantage of them. We have to make the most of these opportunities, because they're there for a reason. God wants us to interact and do great things with people, and the people he puts in our lives. And what greater way to do than take these opportunities and run with them. Continue in verse 13. Jesus answers, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again. Whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life." And there it is. There's the special moment. Jesus is offering this woman a gift that will always be with her. Offering her an opportunity that she had never even considered or seen coming. But yet, this woman was wearing a mask. This woman was pretending to be something that she wasn't. And what Jesus does next, which is always what I love about him, is he kind of calls her out. In verse 15, the woman says that, "Sir, give me this water so I won't get thirsty and have to keep coming here to draw water." Jesus tells her, "Go call your husband to come back." "I have no husband," she replied. Jesus said to her, "You're right when you say you have no husband. The fact is, you have 5 husbands, and the man you now have is not your husband. What you have just told me is quite true. Now, I believe that Jesus has a very funny sense of humor. I think he knows exactly what's going on, and the way he even says it, I can almost kind of sense a little sarcasm maybe in his voice when he's talking to her. But if you're this woman, you feel like you've just been kind of tossed under the bus. Now, who here has siblings? Okay? Siblings. How often do you toss your other sibling under the proverbial bus? A lot, Jack? All the time. But all jokes aside, I have 4 sisters. I'm the oldest of those 4. And I was thrown constantly under all 18 wheels. It was wonderful. And now that I have a son, and my son is having siblings, I am the one that he decides to throw under the bus. So yesterday, we were trying to watch football because it's New Year's Day, and we watch a lot of football at our house. My son, complete first world problem, loses the remote to my television. And in every passing minute, I get a little angry. And I keep on telling myself, this is not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But it sounds like I'm missing football. And that was a big deal for me. And so I said, Liam, where is this remote? I don't know, maybe you lost it. I said, I'm going to go downstairs. Because I need to go downstairs right now. And luckily, my beautiful, wonderful wife finds it underneath his bed, of all places. Which, thank you. That's exactly what we said. All jokes aside, we have these moments in life where we just feel like our stuff, our bad choices, our sin, it can come out the light. And we just don't feel like we ever measure up. Our self-worth, so often, it doesn't take much to break that, right? And when we go through things, we make bad choices, and those things come to light, it is so tough for us to find any kind of rhythm in life and with God. And it's the same thing with this woman at the well. You got to understand, in Jesus' time, not just her, but anyone in the region, and if you make any mistake, you hid it. You lied about it. You put that under the deepest rug. Because you knew if your sin or your bad choice came to light, you were done. And if you were this woman, you could have been killed for that kind of life. All right? And so you have a situation where she was hiding. Now, granted, Jesus is Jesus, and Jesus knows every bit of it, and Jesus knows every bit about the things that goes on in your life as well. The thing that you would be mortified if anyone knew about, he knows. The thing that keeps you up at night, that you lose sleep over, he knows. And yet, in the midst of all those moments, all those things, he still wants to interact with you. He still wants to be present in your life. And I think that's amazing. I think that's what's so amazing about this story, especially as we wrap it up. So Jesus, in John chapter 4, verse 25, says this to the woman. It says, woman, you know the Messiah. The woman said to Jesus, I know that the Messiah, called the Christ, is coming. And when he comes, he will explain everything to us. And Jesus declared, I, the one you are speaking to, I am he. And leaving her jar of water, the woman went back to town and said to people, come see the man who told me everything I did. Could this be the Messiah, the one who came to town, and everyone who came to where he was at and towards him to see him? I love this story. See, Jesus didn't really reveal himself too much at the time, and he chooses this woman in this situation to reveal that he was the Messiah. I think that is awesome. I think if you look at your life and the things that you struggle with, the things you fall to, the bad choices you've made, if God can use this woman in this scenario to speak truth to and give her this amazing gift and say, hey, I'm going to tell you that I am the Messiah, man, he can do that for you. He wants you to be a part of this journey with him. He doesn't want you to be alone and to be isolated. You want rhythm in life this year. You want to try to find a life rhythm. It starts and ends with you and that relationship you have with him. And you know what? To me, that's what this journey of Christianity is about. About you getting closer to Him and Him putting you into a life rhythm. I've learned in my life that in time that if I have my stuff set with God, everything kind of falls into place. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect by any means. There are definitely ups and downs and valleys. But when I go through those valleys, He's with me. I feel His presence. When I'm going through a victory, He's celebrating beside me. And to me, this year, as we try to figure out how to get back into a rhythm of life, I encourage you, let it start with you. So what does that mean for you? How do you put this into action? How do you start this up? For some of us, it's just kind of starting at the beginning. Accepting that He is truly for you, that He wants the best for you, and allowing Him to give you those opportunities to grow. For some of us, it starts with surrender. Now, for this generation, this world right now, the idea of surrender is connected to weakness. But the more I grow, the more I get closer to Jesus, the more I realize that surrender is connected to strength. The more I surrender to Him, the stronger my marriage is. The more I surrender to God, the stronger my relationships are. The more I surrender to Him, the less I care about what's on social media or what people are saying. The more I surrender to God, and the stronger I am. So maybe for us, for you, it starts with surrender. For others, it's about service. To me, if you want to connect to anything when it comes to church or grow your faith, service has to be a part of what you do. If you are not serving in some way, you are selling yourself short when it comes to what you believe in this whole faith journey thing. And so I encourage you to find a place to serve. Maybe for you, it's right here at Polaris Christian Church. I guarantee you, Jenny King could use your help back there with kids. And it's an amazing opportunity. If you've served in children's before, you know exactly how rewarding that is. For my ministry, when it comes to the youth ministry, we could use you. Look at my high school, middle school kids, kind of sitting right here before me. They need you. They need your voice. They need people, adults in their life, to listen to their stories, to have sympathy when they have issues. And yes, they make mistakes, so do I, and so do we all. We need people in our life to listen when we make those mistakes and help us through them. To me, one of the most rewarding things about my ministry is spending time with them. I get to sit with them and watch them grow. I always like, I'm going to call you out, Simonitis, because it's easy. Dave Simonitis right here. I watched him grow from a little boy who was like really into pro wrestling, which is awesome. I remember you showed me off. You opened this door to like this action figure room. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. This young man is not even 21, and he's got his own house, and he's growing his faith, and he is a great young man. And I've had the honor of watching Dave grow into that young man. That's such a reward. Okay? I've seen every one of these young men and women in front of me who are here today, I've seen you grow from where you are to who you are today. And it is a blessing. Invest in kids. Invest in teenagers. If you are serving, pull me aside. There are plenty of middle school and high school boys and girls that could use your words of wisdom. And it's not as scary as you think. Right, Renee? It's not as scary as you think. It's so, I think one of the first things I do, every time I ask anyone to serve at an SMT, it's like, teenagers. I'm like, yeah, they're not scared of you, and you shouldn't be scared of them. They're excited that you can be a part of their lives. So I encourage you to serve. And maybe children's ministry and teens or everything, find that thing. Especially if you are a young adult, you're not going to connect with the church unless you serve. And you got to find that spot. For others, if we want to get back on rhythm and with ourselves and God, it starts to actually start having a daily routine. I encourage you, a lot of us have these smartphones. They have these amazing calendars that you can put every little thing in that calendar, and it gives you reminders. It will go off. It will tweet. It will do all kinds of stuff for you. Start your weekly, daily routine. Make God a part of that. Get a devotional book. You go, they're not too expensive. Go on Amazon.com. Make it a part of your daily life. And I guarantee you this. If you start pursuing God in these ways, if you start pursuing Him in all those areas of life, that you will get close to Him and you are going to find that rhythm with Him. Like I said, rhythm starts with you. It really does. And when you start to get a rhythm with yourself and with God, and you're going to start seeing things move and go the direction you want this year.